Hey everyone! Next up in our sewing techniques series, I'm going to be showing you how to make casings. I mostly use this technique for elastic waistband casings or for sleeve elastic casings, but you can also use this for drawstrings as well, and it doesn't have to necessarily be used for clothes either. But for the purposes of this video, I'm treating it as though it's a waistband elastic casing. To start, I have the fabric that I'm using with the wrong side facing me, and I'm going to fold down my raw edge 1/4 of an inch and press. Then I'm going to take my elastic and measure the width of it. Then you can take that measurement and measure down from your folded edge the width of your elastic plus 1/8 of an inch. If you have a difficult time edge stitching or you're a beginner sewer, instead of adding 1/8 of an inch to your width measurement, go ahead and add 3/16 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. That way, later on, whenever you're edge stitching, you have a little bit more room to stitch. And this way, whenever you do that, your elastic won't be too large for the casing. Once you have that marked, that's going to become your new fold line, and you're going to fold that down and press it in place. Now you can flip your project back to where the right side is facing you, and we're going to stitch right along that little ridge where our fold line is on the underneath side. You want to be as close to the edge of that as possible without going past it. That way you have as much space as possible for your elastic. Be sure to leave a gap in your sewing, that way you can fit the elastic or the drawstring back through your casing. The larger your elastic is, the more space you're going to need. So my elastic was about 1.5 inches, so I ended up leaving about 2 inches or so unsewn in my project. And don't forget to make sure that this is in an area that won't be noticeable in case you have to do some back stitching that is a little bit obvious. You don't want that in the very front of your project. Now you can add a safety pin to the end of your elastic and feed that through the gap in your casing. Once you've made it back around to the beginning, you're going to take your elastic back out through the same opening that you started at, and you can take your 2 ends of your elastic and overlap them, and then you're going to join them together. Different people like to do this different ways, so it's whatever you find to be the most secure for you. I like to make a little square around the joined edges, and then I'll put a cross through it sometimes I don't. Be sure before you sew it that you haven't accidentally twisted your elastic, because that is going to be so annoying to wear if you have a twist in your elastic. But once everything is stitched up and looks good, you can pull on either side of this opening and let your elastic snap back into the casing. Then flip your project back to the right side facing you, and you're going to close up that gap just like you did whenever you stitched the casing down in the first place. And just be extra careful at the beginning and end to make sure that you line it back up with your original stitching. That way you have one clean continuous stitch all the way around your finished piece. And here's what your finished casing will end up looking like whenever it is all sewn up. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any suggestions for this series or for any other future videos that you'd like to see, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!